Hello everyone, welcome back to yet more CL Jolly League. We've got a great game today. It's El Clasico, as I've been told, Paper Squad versus Cataclysm. Two teams that have known each other before they came to the league even. So should be a really fun matchup to watch. Um, I'm here casting. I've got Sleepless with me.
Yo.
And yeah, go
Yeah, I'm
ahead.
excited to be casting again. Again, well, for
Good.
once with a duo, but I'm looking forward.
Good. Yeah, people on stream, let me know if how the volume is, because that's always some people are like it needs up or down or whatever. We are just waiting for the teams to get into the lobby. Unfortunately, we do have a couple of players from each team who are not showing up for various reasons. Started a solo queue game. Um, But yeah, it gives us a bit more of a chance to talk about the current state for both of these teams, where they're at, and yeah, what to expect from both of them. So, starting off, Cataclysm yet to pick up an actual win due to Arc Ghost falling out though. After 4 games, they do have 3 points, so they're sitting at the bottom of the table. They're not very far behind that fourth place spot. Fourth place currently actually held by Paper Squad, sitting on 8 points. So if Cataclysm did come out with the win here, they would only be 2 points behind playoffs. So still very easy for them to catch up. Uh, very doable. And Paper Squad, of course, want to get a win, try and get a bit more of a gap between them and those teams below them. Currently less than a win between them and Battle Queens, who are the ones chasing them on 6 points right now. So very important for both these teams to try and pick up the win here. Draw, of course, still okay, but they really want to be getting up there.
And maybe expected a draw for Paper Squad.
Yep, Paper Squads currently
Mm.
have 2 ties, 1 win, and then they've got their free game versus Arc Ghost.
A
So
bit strange to see Cataclysm at the bottom because, well, in the past they've been a pretty dominant team, but losing your leader in Red Husky can really put a halt to your play, especially if it's your jungler, because the jungler, of course, affects the map, and if your jungler is the team leader, it's very easy for him to control the map and like steer the team in the right direction. Paper Squad middling in the group here. So far, I'm pretty sure they've been losing to the people above them and beating the people below them. So far they've been the bar against the majority of the teams. So if they can pick up another win here, that put them a fair bit above the people below them, and then the race for a top spot in the playoffs will be very interesting.
yeah, currently very close between all these teams in the top spot. If you take a look, there's 6 points in it, so that's 2 wins. And Crescent Solari currently sitting on the top spot have played an extra series than the 3 teams sitting just below them. So really, there's only 3 points in this. So a win here would put them very close to that top spot. Actually throw them up into second until both Noxian Crusade and QN Infernal play another game. We've had 1 player join the lobby, I believe.
Yeah. Is that top later? If it is,
Looks like.
Paper Squad can use an emergency sub, which would make sure that they lose all their bans. But it is something to get the match started a bit quicker,
Yeah,
seeing
it's
as the actual AD carry is still 18 minutes into his ranking.
18 minutes in. Oh dear. Yeah, I mean it's up to them to decide between the two teams if they're willing to wait or if they can't really afford to wait. Then yeah, Paper School will have to use that emergency sub, and it will be 1 min. Then he can FF the game. Okay, obviously the game can't be going all that well.
Yeah. Well, the emergency sub is already in the room. Let's hope they surrender.
So just in case, do we have bans? Oh, so I think the Cataclysm are using an emergency sub. Yep, they are. So they're using Cathacer in the top lane. No idea. And Paper Squad are going to elect to allow them to use emergency subs or allow them to use their bans. So that's the rule we put in. If you think it's a if you think it's a reasonable excuse, you can allow team bans or as many bans as you think is reasonable. Because I know some teams they'll just be like, we want the most competitive game possible, so we'll allow your bans, and some teams will be like, oh well,
we'll take the
this is a bit unfair because we've like prepared for this player and then they're suddenly not playing, so you can have 2 of your 5 bans or just no bans, or yeah, it's just to keep it a bit fair for so people don't swap out players right at the end.
And if the Serena doesn't go through, Paper Squad will also be using an emergency sub, so it would all equal out in the end.
Yeah, and if both teams are using an emergency sub, they may as well use all the bans. Makes it a more interesting game than, well, arguably makes it a more interesting game than not using the bans.
Unless you want to see some Rammus.
Oh, I'd love to see some Rammus. I mean, I wish they would, revert what they did to Rammus, to be honest, because I absolutely hate it. The new ult is cool, but you feel so much less useful somehow. I don't know what it is, but I think it's mostly you just lose the entirety of your Q damage for a 0.25-second knock-up if you hit the center of your ult. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's basically just locking the champ so that the AD carry just can't play the game.
Yeah. Okay, so both teams are actually ready. They're both using an emergency sub. Going to be using an emergency sub, so I'm just going to chuck them the website links. Blue, red, and spectator. And then as soon as they are ready to go, we can start straight up and go into the pick bans.
Yeah. Interesting to see what these teams pull out. Of course, being from Paper Squad, I can expect what will happen from the left side, but it's also always interesting to see how teams adapt to their draft phase. Some teams just lock in a team comp that they want to play beforehand, and then just play. And some teams choose to adapt and change their draft just depending on what the enemy team picks.
Yep. So. I mean, we can have a little. I have not seen either of the. I think I've seen actually the sub for Paper Squad before. I'm sure I've seen LRS.
He's played this season. He played against. I'm pretty sure it was Noxian Crusade, where he played in the bot lane for Paper Squad.
So definitely good to watch. But we are actually into draft. So Paper Squad.
That's good.
Kicking off our draft with the Aphelios ban.
It's a very strong, pick if you want to play defensively and if you really get a very good player. The Vex ban coming in as well. Shadow played Vex pretty well last series, I'd say. Managing to really demolish the mid laner from Battle Queens.
Yeah, a strong pick, definitely Vex, and one that's extremely annoying if you want to pick champions with dashes. What I will say is Vex, probably a pick you'd want into stuff like the Irelia. Irelia is left up. Irelia, very strong pick. We'll have to see whether either team is willing to play it or pick it.
It's not a very difficult pick to play.
Especially not
so
how
far.
She is.
Yeah. So far, no real role that's being focused. I'm just imagining a lot of mostly one tricks are being banned right now. With bot lane and the jungler and mid lane and the support coming out. Paper Squad do have the first pick, so they can either pick like something that they are actually comfortable on and they can blind, or they can just pick that something that they think is like extremely powerful, or that will be picked away by Team.
Yeah, there we see the Jarvan banned away as well. A bit of more of a focus towards the jungle pool side of the Paper Squad. Cataclysm hovering the Shen.
I am seeing one champ that's being left out of the bans. It's usually glancing at Paper Squad. I wonder if they're going to pick it. I won't give it out just yet, but maybe we'll see the champion I was alluding to earlier.
Well, yep, Paper Squad up to pick first, Amumu band away, so some strong supports band away. We usually saw that Amumu, though, I think picked up for Paper Squad in the jungle position. So a bit of bans basically all across the board for both teams, just banning out because they don't really want to see Sivir.
Coming in for the emergency sub. It's a very safe pick. You can just basically sit back, spam your Q, spam your spells to just clear waves, and then once team fights hit, you just press roll, make your front line go in, and then while you just sit back and poke with either the lethality Sivir, or you can just go the regular crit build to pump out the deeps.
Deeps indeed. Alistair being hovered by Cataclysm, it is locked in. They run out of time. Alistair a pretty good pick into Sivir, of course. It's extremely hard to get the E between Alistair's headbutt and pulverize.
Basically impossible, because if he plays it well, he just lets the W go off, and then the spell shield's broken. And if you don't spell shield it, and I think does his passive E damage break the shield as well?
I think it
Maybe it does.
should do. I'm not sure how damage over times work against the spell shield,
Yeah,
but Tahm Kench is locked in as well. Very strong, beefy top laner, so Cataclysm looking more of a team fight team so far.
He's hovering the Darius. Tahm Kench very good against bruisers. He can usually just run at the enemy while he just always wins his trades because he heals all the damage back. Darius does get locked in. It's I wouldn't really say all the pick, but it's a bit strange because of course Tahm Kench, if you ever try to just execute him, he can just pop his E and then there goes all your damage. But it's a strong pick. It's something that Project Vessel is comfortable on, as we've seen him play at times in the past. And then possible Bard, and he does.
We get to see a Bard.
Bit of a Bard angle, I see.
This is Sivir quite a safe AD carry, so I understand the whole we can pick a roaming support here. Bard very good at roaming, very good at trying to get those other lanes ahead. You do have to be a bit worried when something like an Alistair is facing off against the Sivir, though.
And then you pick the Misfortune into it. Misfortune ult very easily cancelled by Bard ult, of course, but that does mean you have to expend your Bard ult for just the Misfortune ult. Now, the Misfortune, a very, very strong pick right now. You might see in Worlds, everybody's picking it. Just a very reliable, can go both crit and lethality. Very diverse, and of course, a very, very big team fight ult.
Indeed, it looks like Cataclysm choosing to now pinch the jungle pool, Paper Squad pinching that mid pool.
Oh no, the Rammus, man. Oh no.
Cataclysm taking away the size as well. The Rammus is an interesting takeaway because it's not, I would not call it strong here.
Yeah, it's not all that powerful in the Misfortune, of course, because, well, it really punishes, like, fast attacking AD carries that just kill themselves on the Rammus W. Misfortune doesn't really attack all that quick, especially if you're going lethality. So there's something. Victor being picked up. Red side was lacking some damage, so picking up something that does damage in the mid lane, and hopefully in the jungle as well. It just will help them just be able to kill the enemy.
Yeah, it does show Rammus is a bit of a respect ban because although they had a lot of very good tools against it, Alistair of course can just punt Rammus away. Tahm can obviously eat the Rammus or eat an AD carry who gets taunted. So yeah, we do see Vel'Koz locked in. So not a matchup we get to see too often in the mid lane, Vel'Koz against Victor.
We see a lot of Vel'Koz in the mid lane. He's usually a bit more of a support, Sport's getting a billion gold, just basically second mid laner. A bit of dis-synergy with the bot and the Vel'Koz ult, not being able to shoot it through. But Zac getting locked in. Zac, very good early game jungler, probably able to help his laners get ahead. Again, a decent Alistar is a decent pick into the Zac, as well as Tahm Kench, just being able to defend the Misfortune while she just whacks her ult across the enemy team.
Yep. Interestingly, Pip Squad managed to get a team which mostly wants to run forwards. I always tend to think of team comps when you look at them as what does this team want to do in a team fight? Do they want to run forwards? Do they want to be running backwards? Or do they want to be just, like standing their ground? Paper Squad mostly wants to run forwards, Bard can do either. Sivir loves to run forwards, Darius loves to run forwards, Zac loves to run forwards, but the Vel'Koz doesn't really fit in too well.
That was a bit of a odd pick out. Well, Team Cataclysm does have a very good team to just stand up, engage. You can have the Alistar when the Darius is like going to charge, and you can just W him back. The Tom Kench can eat anyone that might get jumped on. The Misfortune and Victor, of course, very good area control. Misfortune with the ult, Victor with his ult and his Graviton field, being able to just close off parts of the map. And then turns out, if he ever gets engaged on, he just pops the ult. Vel'Koz will never be in range of him for him to be able to do damage. Neither will the Sivir. So a very good disengaged team come from Team Cataclysm, but of course, you have to play it well in order to actually beat an engaged team, which we will see maybe happen.
Yeah, I think both of these teams here, they're definitely team comps that prefer to be on the objective first, because both of them can very effectively run backwards from the other one. Quite hard to catch a team that's been Sivir ulted. Or if you're running forwards as Paper Squad, don't really want to be running into running straight at a Victor and a Misfortune, two champions that can just make your life a bit of a nightmare.
It'll definitely be probably a skill matchup this game, seeing as how well, if you want to be at an objective first, you have to get prio. However, both these usually we fight our dragons, but both mid lanes have very good wave clear. Victor does need some items, his Evolve D to do the push waves, but Vel'Koz pretty much always like double W. And there's the wave dead. Bot lane as well. Misfortune can push in the wave if she like forces prio. Might cost her like a lot of HP or her ult, if she just wants to straight up push it in. But Sivir as well can always push it in, just like probably just 2 Qs and a W, and then the wave's gone. So this game will definitely be a fight around prio in mid. And we do have a bit of a problem.
Yep, we have.
As the draft is going to be remade because the top laner for Cataclysm doesn't actually have Tom Kench. So he's gonna buy that champ real quick, and then we'll be back into champ select. Definitely a first, I think.
Yep, it does give us. Well, we got a little bit of info about champions. Of course, we expected Darius to be top, Zac to be jungle, but Darius is top. It was locked in for Vessel. Vessel is the last thing we saw.
Vessel. That's how you say it.
Is it Vessel?
Vessel.
Or Wessel? It is Vessel.
Vessel.
Okay.
As in Dutch, I don't know my Dutch.
Yeah, I swear I get it wrong every time, and every time I get told it's the other way, and I'm like, which way actually is it?
No, you have it on record. Vessel.
Vessel. I'm pretty sure that's how I originally started saying it, and then someone told me it was wrong. But there we go.
A fellow Englishman telling you it's wrong. No, you're pronouncing this Dutch word wrong. But going back into draft, shouldn't be too long before the game does start.
3 or 4 minutes probably. Somebody is saying the Vel'Koz does that range every champion enemy seen. They all struggle against long range poke. The problem is that you hate every champion on his team. Yep. But if Vel gets ahead and see how Cataclysm can deal with him, well, yeah, it's a bit hard to engage onto the Vel'Koz. But Vel'Koz is not a champion that's great at running forwards, and that's why I'm saying it's quite important for both these teams to be on the objective points first. Because how do you run into a fed Vel'Koz as Team Cataclysm? You're pretty much relying on like a flash engage from an Alistar, or maybe the flash engage from the Tarm.
That's why it's going to be very important for Zinza will be able to do this game, because I feel it's very important for him to get ahead of the Zac. Because if the Zac ever gets like far enough ahead where he can just free gank while keeping similar farm, it's going to be very, very difficult for Team Cataclysm to get back into this game.
Indeed it will. And yep, so champions being locked in, we can confirm where more champions are going. You know, it is the Tarm Kench top. We're not seeing any weird flexes here. It is a Xin Zhao versus Zac in the jungle and
Also,
Vel'Koz Victor mid lane.
so something very, of course, interesting to look at is I'm not sure about the Team Cataclysm like playstyle, but they are playing with an emergency sub, so you'd be right to guess that they probably don't have that much practice with that top lane. Same goes for the AD carry and Paper Squad. I do know that the playstyle isn't usually around bot lane, so it wouldn't affect it that much, but it's not still. You have to get used to playing with someone who might have a different playstyle than the person you usually have.
Yeah, and especially when it's one of your bot lane champions, bot or support that has been subbed out, you have to question, is that synergy in the early game going to be anywhere near as strong? So definitely something to watch out for is can Kenners and Cursed on Cataclysm actually punish the fact that there is an emergency sub in Paper Squad's bot lane here?
Possible reason why they picked the Bard, because Bard can just go away and go to somewhere else while the Silver can. Like maybe if the Bard does decide to have it roam, I think it's well, it's kind of difficult because being the team that Cataclysm is right now, they want to be at the objective first. So you definitely don't want to give away that bot lane turret first. So perma roaming as Bard is something that Bard likes to do. He has his chimes, he can catch up on XP fine, but you don't want to give away all the prio in bot lane. Just because, well, if you lose the first turret, there's no way your Civic can farm up near the tower because you will just get perma roamed on, and then you lose all prio for it.
Civ are usually a champion that's quite good into dives just because of the spell shield, but when you're against something like an Alistar that can quite easily break the spell shield and continue the CC, not the best.
Especially not with an MF ult on top of your head.
Yeah, especially not, or MFE, which I think the E doesn't pop the spell shield anymore. I'm pretty sure
Sure.
Yeah, so Alistar E must not either.
I know sleep doesn't get broken by misfortune ult, but I'm not sure if it's the same with spells. Maybe the bullets also don't, because strangely enough the bullet time does count as AoE. Like damage over time for some odd reason. So maybe that doesn't break the spell shield either. So maybe you can't even ult to break the spell shield as a misfortune and then have the Alistar follow up. So maybe it is something that can be.
Yeah, but you reduce the amount of time you're going to be in the air from Alistar by a second or so. Another thing to look out for, I guess, is how Team Cataclysm play these team fights. Something I've yet to see is anyone use Tahm Kench ult as an engage mechanism for a champion that struggles to get into the backline. There's not really one you'd want to put in their backline here. Maybe you could argue you could ult Alistar, W in with him, and just suddenly have an Alistar in the enemy backline, but it doesn't seem like the best because you're leaving the rest of your team pretty much undefended at that point. Xin not the best champion for...
It would be the most extravagant insect ever. Tahm Kench ult your Alistar into the backline and then W them in. That'd be it. I'd love to see it, but I don't think it will.
Yeah, I'd love to see it one time. Someone actually using just the Tahm Kench eats as an engage rather than, save someone or get a kill.
Yeah. I do think that Tahm Kench is decently weak. He's a very strong laner, but if you have a team that is communicating and talking to each other, I don't really think Tahm Kench will ever get ahead. And if he doesn't get ahead, he's just basically the Tahm Kench of old in support, but he just doesn't have his eat for every 2 minutes. So it'll be interesting to see that. But unless Darius just wants to bang fight all day into the top lane, maybe Tahm Kench can surprise him with damage, but Project Vessel does play Tahm Kench, so I assume he knows the damage Tahm Kench can do. You also have what you're looking for is where the Xin Zhao can go, and if he ever beats it. Of course, Xin Zhao very strong early, will be able to win a 1v1 against Zac. And if you have Tahm Kench and Xin Zhao versus Darius and Zac, I also think Cataclysm will win. So I assume Xin Zhao will just start up outside, path up the top, and look for 2v2 or 3v3s or whatever.
Sometimes I do wonder when you have these things where it's like a bruiser into tank matchup in the top lane if any team ever considers a lane swap, because of course bruisers need a lot more gold, and generally with a lane swap what you're doing is denying the solo laner more gold than they'd usually get. Tanks famously don't need as much gold as bruisers to become useful.
Riot has tried to put a stop to that, because a top lane turret does have more defensive if there are more people around. Or if it's, I think it just gains a lot more stats if more than one person kills a play. So it'd be very difficult to actually try and break it. But we are into game now, so
Straight into game. Game. Don't pause. Let's just make sure we catch back up to. There we go. And first game. Oh, what is
we
happening
immediately
there?
see some pings coming out.
Clicked the wrong screen. Oops. But there we go. Now we got the right teams in the right place. And we see yeah, Cataclysm were trying to go for a cheeky invade through mid into the bush, but Cream Demon actually walking down the mid lane does spot them out. So nothing really happened there.
I'm gonna mute the sound for my game. You know. We see a bit of dancing. These teams obviously know each other very well. They've played against each other for a long time, so some friendly banter going on shown. And then you go mid lane. Typing on, but we see a standard setup for these teams. Funny enough, Zinzao is starting in a top lane.
So we might see a level 2 gank onto Darius. Oh, Shadowgream's getting close. He's walking in. It's a bit close there. Mindless walking up, doing quite a bit of damage to the enemy Vel'Koz.
It's very difficult for Zinzao to kill him there, because if he wants to kill him, he has to take Q in order to try and knock him up. However, of course, Zinzao doesn't want to take Q level 1 against his jungle camps, because skill will be a lot worse. But Zinzao is starting topside, mainly either he is going for level 2 gank, or he maybe because the top laner is a Phil player, he wants to play around his bot side, attacking the enemy Phil player.
Could be. We'll have to see where he paths. Vessel, of course, should be playing a bit more safe, knowing that Zinzao has not pathed down to his Raptors yet. So he should know that there is the chance that he will get ganked early. Probably doesn't want to push this in.
A bit different takes here on the bot lane matchup. We see Sivert starting with a tear, expecting for basically nothing to happen in the early game, because she doesn't need the extra health or the extra AD from a Doran's Blade. Meanwhile, Misfortune expecting a lot of action and a lot of poke, mostly, opting into the Longsword, of course. Very good if you're planning on going lethality, makes you get that Serrated Dirk a bit earlier.
Yep, even if you're not going lethality, gets you towards that attack speed mythic a bit quicker.
Vessel here setting up for a cheater recall, stacking up that wave, being able to go back, trading his HP for the push, and then just going back and getting off his health back. Misfortune and Alistar might be looking to do the same. Misfortune very good at taking some free recalls because of her W movement speed, of course. She can get to lane very, very quickly. A lot.
See some small trades coming out in the bot lane there, but nothing really going to happen.
Bit of a CS lead coming up, but of course there's a big wave coming up.
Big wave there, taking also minions.
Both junglers just doing a full clear. Especially not happening just yet. Mindless just taking his blue buff and then his grump. Zac taking his grump, his scuttle, but Zac deciding to take the scuttle first. Might be better to get those death times on the jungle camps a bit faster. But just making sure he gets the scuttle before Zinzao decides to show up.
Yeah, interestingly, we do see in the mid lane, Ainsley didn't really manage to punish the fact Shadowgream had got knocked down to about half health early on. Shadowgream hasn't used any of his pots, and pretty much managed to heal to full, get a very slight, CS lead. Was a very slight CS lead, and then get his back off. Something else we haven't really talked about, it is Ghost on the Darius as the second summoner spell, not the teleport. So it's teleport advantage for Cataclysm.
Yeah. So you may see again in the top lane. Zac is waiting in behind. But probably Darius is far Topper's being able.
But they go in. That is the knock up onto Kathasa here. He will get pulled back as well. Vessel will pull him just to keep him there a bit longer. Very nice hold on the W there from the Tom Kench.
Yeah. It's pretty easy once Darius uses his E to just W backwards because you know he doesn't have any CC left. Maybe better to save it, but it's very difficult to get him down this early. Zac doesn't really do that much damage. Neither does Darius, but just one single longsword. As we see, top lane starting to put up a freeze.
Interesting teleport into the wave. Kathasa will get punished by that quite
Oh.
heavily. Ghost is popped. He's going onto him. That's a lot of damage going down. Tom Kench has to use that E, but he's baited him into Mindless here. Mindless now getting the flash out.
And the wave being in a very bad position here.
Both summoners actually forced out from the Paper Squad top laner. Mindless will stick around.
That's why you want to usually go. You just want to run down the top lane. Usually is something you pick against champs that don't have that much mobility to get away from you. Also in team fights, I think that Darius is just looking at one thing, and that's the misfortune. He's just going to run at her. But the wave in top lane, as Paper takes the Drake, pretty bad position, seeing as how the wave is definitely pushed away from it, and Darius knows that Zinzao is still around in the top lane.
He's used all of his pots, try to get as much health back as possible. It feels safe to walk up here. Here comes in again.
Yeah, Zinzao might be punishing his mistake here by reading for the wave.
It's a nice knock up, a jump in. Vessel there gets the heal, but he's just slowed down, and that'll be first blood over to the Catfish.
Yeah, very good punish from Zinzao, seeing that Project Vessel isn't respecting the wave state and isn't respecting the jungler who might still be there. And just being able to take him out while the lane is in a very bad position.
Meanwhile, just look at this bot lane. Cataclysm are just forcing Paper Squad back. The fact they don't know exactly where the Alistar is and an engage here could definitely spell a kill. It will slowly push back into them, so not too bad.
Because I had a bit of a freeze going on for at the beginning there. And that you can see in the bottom.
Well, there's the ultimate used in the mid lane, but nothing's going to happen to that. Meanwhile, Vessel has found Mindless in his jungle. There's a fight over the Gromp. I'm not sure who got that. I think it was Mindless. Yep.
With a smite, but it was taken.
Meanwhile, gank in the bot lane. Cream Demon going on to Curse. Curse taking a lot of damage. Didn't get the aftershock off early enough. Will slowly get close. The Ignite is ticking, but it's not enough.
Cataclysm coming away with a lot of low health bars in all these fights.
And now there's a gank onto mid lane. There's absolutely no mana for Shadow Green. They managed to force the flash out, but it's traded for Mindless's flash in the end.
Nothing but ganks for the last 4 minutes, but not only one kill going down.
Yep, just the one kill in the top lane.
We do see Alistar picking up the Moby boots, so he will definitely be looking to roam. But he's sprinting down bot lane right now just to make sure his AD carry doesn't get dived.
It looks like bot lane for Paper Squad, they're just picking up the single plates. They'll be looking to back and spend some of that gold. CS lead has been built up in the bot lane for the side of Cataclysm.
Yes.
About 25.
How much gold is Misfortune sitting on? Because I assume she's sitting on a bit. Oh, she's sitting on 1.6k. So if she goes back, she can. She is going for. I assume she does have pressing attack, so I assume she's going for the Moon Quiver. She could probably pick that up, maybe alongside the regular boots, or maybe even the attack speed boots. She decides good for the pickaxe and the quick look. Actually, there's a lot big item gap. Holding. Misfortune only moments away from finishing her mythic.
Yeah, and you have to remember she can always just press W to get that move speed that boots would give. Oh, ultimate actually used here to pull Darius back. That's so much damage coming out from the Tahm Kench. The Q heal does not get onto the Tahm Kench. There's a big big trades in the mid lane. Tahm, though, is just running down Darius in top lane. Not what you tend to expect to see in a Darius lane. Usually Darius is the one doing the running down.
This is what I talked about. Oh.
has been found in the jungle, will flash ult himself to safety, but it's not that safe. The Tower Diver is coming out, they pop him into the passive, and that should be just too easy to pick up. Donated to this end.
That's what I talked about in the draft, is Tahm Kench is very good into just bruises because, well...
Challenger. Beautiful knock onto Mindless. The ult is not quite in time and he will fall.
I should not mention, being able to pick up a bit of pick up the scraps of that disaster in the top lane. But as I was saying earlier, very difficult for Darius to fight this Tahm Kench because he can just permanently fight him. He has a lot of, surprisingly, he has a lot of damage even while building full tank and any trades. He usually just wins because he just pops his E, and that's another like 300 HP that he can take.
Yeah, when he has the lead on a Bruiser being put behind, it's often very strong. Sheen item not as good into tanks as it would be into other champions, because a lot of that damage will also be reduced and it's not giving you any tanky stats.
Sheen a bit better on Darius these days. Zach just jumps on easily for once. But Sheen a bit better on Darius because his W did recently get buffed. Just being a flat cooldown, so he'll be using that a bit more. But like you said, very difficult for a Bruiser to come back against Tahm Kench, who can legitimately just run at him even under turret and just try and kill him over and over again. Especially with the Devourer.
Dragon has been started up here by Cataclysm. They do have the first priority on it. It's only the second dragon of the game, but a nice Earth Drake. Looks like they want to fight it. The Elastic Slingshot being channeled right now. Cream Demon won't use it. Bard ultimate goes wide. A lot of poke is actually coming out right now. Cataclysm just not bursting down enough. Kenneth is trying with the auto attacks. Ult comes out from Curse to keep himself alive. Mindless as well. Cataclysm being slowly forced off by the sheer amount of poke. Teleport coming in from Tahm Kench. Meanwhile, Darius is walking down very slowly. Cataclysm trying to turn it around and take the team fight. Kench jumping in, they're going on to Shadow Green first. Meanwhile, in the backline, Wasteland has to flash away. Mindless is also here, jumping into the enemy team. Vessel is there, ultimate goes down. They will pick up one in return. For all that, it is just the 1-for-1. Kenneth, though, maybe a bit out of position, is jumping forwards. The Elastic Slingshot interrupted by Cursed. A beautiful Pulverize. Kenneth's taken incredibly low, will get taken down by the Q from the Darius. Tahm Kench now just trying to turn it around. Ainsley gives him an E, but it's not enough. Paper Squad, following up with that fight, will just be able to take the Drake and take the team fight win.
That was a massive swing. Darius is finally roaming down. I thought that this was just a gunner because Darius was way behind in this fight. Doesn't have teleport, can't really follow up. But slowly, Cataclysm is getting poked out by this Sivir and Vel'Koz. A lot of shutdowns going over. Darius now just being able to finish his Triforce in one go. This will really put him back into the game, and just a massive slip up by Cataclysm here.
Yeah, we saw it all sort of came off from Kenneth there, trying to clear that ward in the enemy jungle, not having the easy way out, just got CC'd down and jumped on.
Also very good for Paper Squad. Infernal Soul is the dragon that we're going to get this game. Vel'Koz and Sivir will be very happy if they end up being able to pick it up. As you can see there, Castle Knowledge, Sivir, Misfortune E doesn't proc Spell Shield.
Well, that was the Q.
Yeah, the Q procced it, but he was getting slowed by the E from Misfortune, so it doesn't proc it. Very nice.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I'm
Big
not
brain
sure
moment.
how many abilities don't proc it. It's kind of strange. Sometimes you wish it did.
I guess just things that don't really do that much damage or something. I'm not sure. Oh well.
Yeah, ooh, they're in the bush. Cursed with the engage here. Canez make sure that he doesn't get hit by the Bard ultimate. They're running forwards, putting as much damage as they can into the Sivir. Will flash it away, keep herself alive. There's a teleport in from the Vel'Koz. Cursed in a lot of trouble. The portal will take them behind Kenez, and Kenez now has no way out. We'll just try and put some damage down before he dies as well. Sivir will pick that kill up. Ainsley trying to get something in the mid lane, but Cream Demon is here to just stop anything happening. Cream Demon actually slowly winning that fight. But no, it will just back off in the end.
Be scared of the jungle that might be around. But Victor didn't have any spells left, but of course, if the jungle is there, that's a free kill. Just given away. Meanwhile, bot lane now, being able to push it in, might even be able to take this turret.
Mindless trying to get onto Shadow Green.
Yeah, and there we go. That's a bot lane turret taken down. Like I said in the draft, it's very bad if Sivir gets it taken away from her because the bot roams. Bot has not really left his lane, which meant that all the action in the bot lane.
Ooh, and Vessel not having the best game here, misses the heal again on the Q. Will just try and use the Ghost to get away. Is just being auto-attacked down by this Tahm Kench. Elastic Slingshot back in. Looks like they'll try and fight the Catfish, but it's just so much damage. Ult used by the Darius. The Nocturne Guillotine's not enough, and Tahm is just healing through all of this damage. There's nothing that Zac can do. He doesn't have the burst for this. Shield is used, and now Tahm's turning onto the next contender. Shadow Green maybe getting a little bit closer. We'll try and turn it back around, but Curse with a beautiful double knock-up. There's another knock-up coming in from the Tahm as well, and they just pick up 3. Cataclysm very quickly turning the game back around.
You just can't kill this damn Tahm Kench. He's so incredibly tanky with the E, with just basically just a Cinder hold, being able to just run down the Darius. The Zac doesn't do nearly enough damage to help out with killing him, and the Velko's just a tad too late.
And he's not even finished the mythic yet. Oh,
Yeah.
Kenneth gets a really nice double up onto LRS here, and he's trying to run him down. Heal will be used for the extra move speed, but that is a Sivir. Bullet time is not enough. You always got to think, you can't really run down a Sivir.
No, she has ult. But she doesn't actually end up using, just decides to pop the heal. Maybe thinking that if the dragon spawns, she definitely does want the ultimate to be ready. As Pip's got looks for Kenneth, but he's already gone.
Yeah, of course. Sivir ultimate, really good for enabling your Darius. That's just so much extra move speed. Also for the rest of the team. Looks like Paper Squad are setting up for this Drake first with just over 40 seconds. You'd expect the teams to start moving towards trying to get this vision around it.
But the bot lane turret being...
Ultimate coming out from Shadow Green. I think he's just trying to get Ainsley to back, but the teleport will be off cooldown very soon. He should be able to teleport back for the dragon fight. So ultimately that just means that the Velko's ult should be down for this dragon.
And with the red side turret being down, it gives Paper a very easy way to just push that out as far as possible and get Prime, get some wards down into the dragon pit.
Cataclysm starting it up as soon as it spawns. MF will walk in through the side, join up with the rest of our team. Victor is also here, so we see that back forced, not really doing anything.
I think Pipsco will want to do the same thing as they did before, just poke the enemy down, see if they can get the enemy carries just low enough, or the Xin Zhao, so he can't actually frontline, and then try to, back off.
Cataclysm Yang not quite sure whether they want to be going for this Drake. They keep starting it up and they're just letting it hit them. Not committing to it. Looks like they might commit to it now. Drake taken to half HP. They're continuing it. Tahm is going in. They're turning the fight. Bullet time hits onto 4. The Bard ultimate comes out. It will interrupt it, but they've already got 1. Kenneth, though, is just melted by the Velkos. But Vessel taken incredibly low, but he gets the heal. That is 1 heal coming out. Meanwhile, the Tahm Kench is just running down the rest of the backline. He will jump under the tower.
Ooh, nice spell shield. Balance. And that's a win for Cataclysm, being able to have a very nice combo. If that battle wasn't just in time, that would have been gone very poorly indeed. But Cataclysm still managing to pick up the quite fed Sivir with the turret goal, the 2 kills, and then all the assists. Can't really do anything if the Tahm Kench is running at her. It's going to be very difficult for her to actually ever do any damage, especially since she's going the lethality build. Can't really poke down the Tahm Kench, she'll just heal all of her back. And in the team fight, if he just jumps on her, she's just dead. Nothing the Bard can do, not unless the Zac and the Darius both try and keep him off the Sivir. Then maybe she can try and kill him, but the enemy team will just lay waste to the front.
Yeah, the lethality build here. Not so sure of that one. It's a bit questionable when you're into 2 tanks and a bruiser who are going to be standing straight ahead of you.
Maybe if, of course, it's something that is easy to say afterwards, because if the Tahm Kench wasn't that bad, maybe the lethality Sivir could do something, but the Tahm Kench being this far ahead, having his Thormill done, having his Frostfire Garland done, it's so horrible. You just can't do anything. This game.
Yeah.
They're going to really be relying on Vel'Koz to take him down, or Darius being able to do half it, the Tahm Kench's HP with his ult.
You can see Shadow Green's actually building the death cap second. He's not going for that. Oh, but there's an engage in the mid lane. Nothing really coming out. Nice sidesteps from Ainsley. Using those fancy feet there just to keep himself out of danger.
Flip Squad looking... Well, what are they really looking for?
Pinging on the Baron.
Might try and sneak it. They do have the Cracker Slayer misfortune. And not opting into the Gale Force, but just going for that pure frontline DPS. They might try and sneak it.
They see Sivir bot as well.
Darius is looking to maybe commit towards there, so they will definitely see the Tahm Kench, the Darius on the bot side.
There's no one
for
here.
free. Only Blood is
They're
just looking to check, so only now they're realizing, oh shit, actually doing it.
It's taking a very long time. Shadow Green and Cream Demon on the way up. The teleport comes in from the Tahm Kench. The rest of the team is trying to make their way up. Tahm Kench just zoning. You see the Baron's below 2k. Cream Demon trying to get close enough. Baron is secured though. Tahm is just tanking out the backline. Ainsley trying to turn on to Cream Demon. Looks like Tahm will be the sacrificial catfish. The rest of the team just have to get out right now. Ainsley having to flash away from the elastic slingshot.
Not a lot of follow-up though. The Sivir got blown, the bottle wasn't up yet. So with just the one pick, the Tahm Kench going down does give a shutdown to the Sivir, which again isn't that big of a deal, but Cataclysm will be very happy with sneaking away Baron. And now it's just to see what they can do with it. They don't have the best siege comp, as Babes does have a fairly decent amount of wave clear, and Cataclysm doesn't have that much range to siege down turrets. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do with it. I'm pretty sure Dragon will be spawning while they have Baron, so that is something Cataclysm can use to their advantage.
Yep, they should be able to use this Baron to secure themselves that third Drake. Of course, can be very impactful. Probably will also want to go for a secondary turret if they can get one.
And a visual bug.
No.
As they say in
the chat.
the chat.
Let me go have a look and see what we're looking at.
Seems. Is it the same bug that happened at Worlds?
It's 4 feet above the ground. Oh.
Oh, yeah, at Worlds it was below the ground. Okay. As the other stuff as well.
Let's see if the rejoining will fix that.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm not sure if it's a bug for everyone. It isn't in a spectator, so I assume him just rejoining will
hopefully fix that, and anyone else that has it can hopefully fix it as well.
Yeah.
With a quick rejoin.
But while we have this pause, we can just look at the map state. Cataclysm 3.5k ahead, actually 4.5k. Most towers have been taken. At this point, I assume they will just, set up vision, bot side jungle, try and just wait for souls to stack, and if they can catch out any members from Baby Squad that try and contest, they can pretty easily win the fight, as Tahm Kench still very much unkillable. He tanked the entire enemy front line for like 5 minutes straight.
What just happened?
I froze as well. Another pause, perhaps?
Nothing in the chat. That's very strange. Uh-oh. I don't know how we get past this one.
Oh, no, it's started again, for me at least. Right,
there we go. I'll quickly catch up. Nothing happened in that time. thankfully,
Okay, good.
apart from MF getting a red buff. So, I mean, obviously you can just take the Baron for the XP and gold, but you kind of want to see the teams use it if possible.
But that is where Page has that wave cliff and ready to just take it all down. And then again, the most fed people on Cataclysm are the Tahm Kench and Xin Zhao, who can't really walk up to take any towers because they will just be able to get burst down, or at least go into half HP if it's Tahm Kench case, as they might see a catch.
They're attempting the engage here on the bottom side. They've found Cream Demon, but there's the ultimate coming out from the Vel'Koz doing so much damage, almost takes Cursed out. Cursed will be able to stay alive with the healing from the passive. I think it was actually Kenneth's heal. Oh, a really nice Q there does pick up the kill onto the Alistar. Katasa doesn't manage to press E in time and he will go down. The Grey Shield does not come out, and that leaves Cataclysm in a 3v4.
Yeah, but most importantly, Xin Zhao still alive, so they
That's-
can maybe start up the Drake.
Looks like they will. Ainsley will try and use these choke points to just zone the rest of Paper Squad away.
That's another free Drake,
secured.
2 Drakes already for the Cataclysm side. Misfortune and Victor will be pretty happy with taking as many of those because, of course, they just want as much AD as possible. The Tahm Kench and Zhao don't really care as much. But still, those stats are nice. And if the Tahm Kench even gets a slightly bit more stronger, damage-wise, he'll just be able to walk at him 1v5. Don't really care about who's there.
Yeah, and of course, 4 Infernals is actually a lot of extra damage.
Yeah.
Comparable, what is that? That's 16% extra AD and AP on your team, and then you also get essentially a Luden's effect.
Yeah, that is if Cataclysm gets the other two, a Misfortune ult and a Xin Zhao laser across a Alistar wombo combo. I say wombo combo, just WQ. Will probably pop most backliners, if maybe even the front line from Paper Squad. So Cataclysm will definitely be looking to stack up as many as they can, which is pretty easy with the comp they've got on themselves, because Paper Squad should be scared to walk into a basically fully warded up bot side jungle if Cataclysm actually clears out the wards, because right now fairly warded out the Paper Squads.
Plastic Slingshot finds MF. Kenneth's trying to get out, but the ultimate will come down from the Vel'Koz. The burn slowly ticking. A flash in from Wasteland will also pick up that kill on the MF. It is traded back though for the Alistar. The ult will slowly tick down. Vestal here does have the resets. He does get eaten up to interrupt that last ultimate and will get bursted out. It's now the 3v2. They get a hit up onto LRS. Wasteland is the only one left alive. We'll try and use the portal to get out. He is being chased, but Blast Cone mechanics will save his life.
A massive win again for Cataclysm. This is what that team is built for, counter engaging the Paper Squad, using the Zac to try and get onto the backline, trying to take the enemy down, but
I do question Mindless going top there, because I think they could have probably forced down that mid inner.
Falls there, but looking to back. Drake's up in 2 minutes, Baron's up in 20, so maybe they can set up for that again. Vision already on the Baron. They know the river is clear, they know the top side of the blue buff is clear. And we already see Alistar putting up vision there. Misfortune already.
Ooh, could be caught out though. Elastic Slingshot, really nice pulverized to stop it. The slows will come out, but even the Misfortune should be enough of a dissuasion.
As Peter said in game, in the Twitch chat, he's been our second analyst for this game, or second or third or whatever. Victor still lacking a bit of damage. Victor, I've played him a fair bit. You really do need a couple of damage items to properly do actual damage against frontliners. And he has slowed it down a bit by going the defensive item of the Zhonya's. I do think it's a fair buy, seeing as how Babes all they really want to do is go in. So if he can stall, even like a couple seconds while his ult is just dealing a bunch of damage on the back line, I think it's a fair buy. As we see a potential fight here, as people are dancing around the Baron.
And both teams just slowly moving away from this Baron now. Drake will be spawning shortly, 40 seconds left on it, so we might see the teams move down towards that one. There is a control ward from Cataclysm right now, so they do have the better informational advantage for when it does spawn.
Both teams don't really want to give it away, even though, as of late, Cataclysm has been way ahead. Baby Squad still do have those first two Drakes, so they Cataclysm can't really just give it away for the Baron. They shouldn't trade it, I say, because that would give Baby Squad the potential to just 50-50 a Drake and get Soul. We see a nice steal from Tom Kench from the Darius. And Baby Squad will not want to give this up either because I'll beat the Drake.
Kennis on his own, nice dodging to the sides, but the heal is not enough there to get out, and with no flash, that is the MF down. Really nice takedown. They're trying to follow it up onto Ainsley. They found him. He's slowed. He's knocked up. The Zhonya's will keep him alive for a bit longer. They're turning it around. Have got the kill onto the bar. They're trying to get LRS as well. LRS will go down. Alistar's just wasting so much time from this Darius, but now there's only two from the side of Cataclysm left alive to try and fight three. They do take down Shadowgreen. Trying to turn down onto the Darius. They get the kill on the Darius, and they will get the kill onto Cream Demon as well.
It's just sad to watch. This Tom Kench is so incredibly strong. No one can face him, even after fighting Velcros and Sivir, the two most fed members. Well, the biggest damage dealers besides Darius, I'd say. They just can't do anything against him. He's full HP. He didn't even take that much damage in that fight, and even if Darius he cleaned up the Cataclysm backline. Since out Tom Kench still very healthy, they're just unable to execute those two, meaning they just get the kill then.
And the Zhonya's there actually bought so much time. That extra, was it 2 seconds? I think of invulnerable just meant that the enemy Darius had to just stand there, pretty much waiting while your Xin Zhao and Tahm Kench just ran at LRS and Wasteland in the back line. And we could have been looking at a very different fight had the Zhonya's not bought that time.
That there was able to get just that quicker to the Tahm Kench or the Xin Zhao. He might have been able to continue his ult streak, but you buy these defensive items for the region, just stall time until ironically, your damage dealer, the Tahm Kench, can finish off.
Engaged from the Tahm, jumping across the wall, but he will take a decent chunk of damage. Still alive though, Curse turning it around with the headbutt pulverized. LRS taking so much damage from the bullet time. The ultimate from the Bard not really doing much. A lot of damage was put down inside of Paper Squad. Baron is being pinged by Cataclysm.
That is two major teamfight ults from Paper Squad traded for the MF from Cataclysm.
Ainsley's on the side. They're going to try and turn it around. They find Cream Demon. Meanwhile, Ainsley will be forced to use that. Zhonya's on the side, so it is currently a delayed fight. So much damage being put down. LRS down again. Wessel is trying to turn it around. Will find the ultimate onto Ainsley, but the bleed is not enough to take him down. And it's just the Bard left to try and run away. Stun coming out from the tongue.
And that will probably be game the entire... A clean ace from Cataclysm as they finish up Paper Squad. And, well, it's been... even with the sub, Cataclysm has been playing around top side, and this Tahm Kench just so incredibly strong. As we get another freeze.
Nice bug, the game-ending bug.
The game stalling some more time for Paper Squad right now.
But yeah, that will be Cataclysm picking up game 1. And yeah, it just felt like they identified what one of their win cons was in that game, or what the enemy win con was that game with Darius, and just shut it down early, and there wasn't much they could do until the Fed Tahm Kench.
All they had to do was stop So, and the tank DPS mage hunter assassin Tom Kench could just finish up the entire paper squad team, I assume. I can probably predict one of the bands going in for next game, but yeah, very well done by Cataclysm, being able to play a game and carry around that sub. Very well done.
And yep, I will set up the next lobby while I remember.
Yes.
Yes, always
Yeah.
good to get it ready.
With that dominance they've had, I think it's probably pretty easy for Paper Squad to come back and just like review this game and be able to get a dub for the next one. Seeing as how I think we all know the major problem right there. It was the Tom Kench, just no one could deal with it, and it got way too far ahead, way too early. And I think actually you almost saw Paper Squad coming back time and time again. Like even when the Tom Kench was that ahead. In these team fights, they played those very well. They managed to catch out multiple people, but in the end, it usually was just the Tom Kench and the Xin Zhao being alive and finishing up the rest. So if they can get similar comps, even ban out the Tom Kench or just don't get him that much far ahead, I think it's fairly doable to assume that Flipscope will really come back and have a better showing in game 2.
Definitely yes, and important to say as well, this is Cataclysm's first actual game played win, and looking a lot stronger than they have in their previous games. Seem to have be finding their stride a little bit, so Cataclysm could be turning this around and coming for one of those top spots.
One thing to mention though is ranked game over that Telolet activated. The sub is being subbed out, and Telolet finishing his ranked game is being able to play, which would, I assume, also add a bit of confidence in the bot lane. Although, Lars, just that's his name, that's what that name is meant to be, Lars. They played pretty well. They got ahead. They got the first turret. They played pretty damn good. However, Telolet being more familiar with the bot lane and how the team plays, should have a bit more success, I assume. Yeah, I'm excited to go into game 2 and see what these teams can do in the next one.
So I wanted to see the draft, so I was just posting that into the Discord. And let me create this draft link. We're still waiting on one of Cataclysm, so I'll give them a minute to join. I suppose we can do a poll for the MVP of game 1.
Yep.
That's a thing to do in the meantime.
I think I can predict the outcome, although it's a bit of a silent hill of the game. Everybody will think, oh, that's Tom Kench. What a Chad. But the Xin Zhao did help him out a lot. He also ended up very, very good score in the end. So maybe we can give some votes to the Xin Zhao. And people are asking, Civil was first picked. So you know.
And we'll just put a 3-minute, there you go. Everyone can chuck in their votes for who they think was the true MVP of that game. And just while we wait for to come out, yeah, I will say Tom Kench, of course, played that game. Was a major contributing factor to that game, but of course the reason why he was able to get so far ahead was the Xin Zhao ganks in that early game. Actually, really smart pathing coming out there.
As a jungler, I'm voting for Mindless.
Yeah, as
I support my jungler homies.
Really smart jungle pathing to make sure he was there when it'd be absolutely the worst time from the Darius. And yeah, they just managed to punish him for it.
Both teams ready at Shu on the lobby.
both teams ready? Yep, I will give them the links. I'll say as well, a lot of the Alistair pulverizers were really, really good, interrupting things like the Zac elastic slingshot and other engaged tools that might have otherwise been very effective. Cast LPM better games. LPM didn't tell us they were playing, so how are we supposed to cast them? Oh, unless they posted it very lately. I mean, if they want to wait for this game to finish first, could always go onto it, but there we go. I should probably open the link myself, ready to go. And I'll tell them, can start draft when ready, and we will be going straight into the draft for game 2.
Okay, so will we see the same bands? We might. Vex similar to the last time, Lilia as well.
Yeah, from the side of Cataclysm, I think is you can consider, was there anything that was really a problem there on the enemy team? Is there anything you really need to get rid of? Maybe you think the Bard, because a lot of the Bard ults did interrupt some crucial ultimates from your side, but your current bands won you a game, so we see a pivot there from Paper Squad.
Expected the Tom Kench a bit too strong. Time to bench the Kench. And don't want to have that running down your entire team anymore. But yeah, the exact same bench coming in from Team Cataclysm didn't really have anything it looked scared of this game. And Page were actually banning out Zera this time. Sure why, but
LPM versus Breaches has to be worth told about, but
maybe they have something in mind.
This was the game we told about first. Yeah, Xerath being banned out is an interesting one. Xerath's incredibly long-range, safe mid laner, so kind of implies they might be wanting to play through mid lane this game.
Yeah, Zinzao being locked in again looked very good on it last game, so no reason why to not take it this time.
Jungle, a very important role in the current meta, so definitely a good thing to get. The MVP poll for Game 1 did come back with a draw between Cathasar, I don't know how his name's supposed to be said, Cathasai, and Mindless. So both of them picked up a fair chunk of the votes there.
Lucian and Poppy being picked up here. Lucian, again, very strong with the Nami, which was banned, so maybe this is something that PaperSquad has been practicing as of late. Poppy is a flag spec. You can play it in top, in jungle, support. Maybe even support if you want to. And here is the Aphelios that PaperSquad banned before, so something that they can they were afraid of. And the Threshold of Aphelios, very good combo. Aphelios, of course, doesn't really have that much mobility, so the Threshold really helps out if he ever gets engaged on hand.
Yeah, Poppy a very interesting pick actually. People remembering after Vex was added as an anti-mobility champion that one actually already exists in the game that they could be picking. And Poppy, not actually that strong of a champion, but it's just with the amount of mobility added into the game recently and most of the OP champions having dashes, Poppy becomes that much stronger just by being able to press W and stop a lot of that.
Yeah, this game already, Zinzao dash. Does Fresh Lantern get blocked by Poppy? I assume so.
Oh, I think so. If Fresh tries to follow up on the Q, it definitely gets blocked if he tries to pull himself.
So already a lot of options there. Will be confirmed that I didn't go into the support role as Lulu has been picked up. Lucian very strong early, especially with an enchanter being able to dominate lane, especially against an Aphelios who isn't that strong early. Outside of level 1, or outside of his first guns. But we can certainly see now Lucian has been coming back a bit more into the bot lane, of course, after those buffs. His solo lane potential has been lowered.
Yeah, it's a lot to do with people as well realizing and remembering that Nami exists as a champion. weirdly, with a lot of the meta shakeups that have happened recently, with just specific champions being nerfed rather than the actual problems with the game, people have been going back to some of these older champions that haven't been touched in quite a while and going, wait a second, this is actually really strong. This has been strong this whole time. Why have we not been picking this? And so you start to see things like Poppy being picked up for the anti-mobility and champions like Nami being picked up a lot more.
Cataclysm, assuming this Poppy is going to the jungle, banning out the Shem, Fizz, one of the assassins that Paper Squad does play. Meanwhile, Paper Squad taking away one of the scaling picks. Action actually gets locked in here.
It's interesting.
Still, a bit of a flex pick.
Bit of a flex pick, but that's a lot of AD being locked in right now for the side of Paper Squad. And I see the anti-AD champions still are not banned out.
Malphite could look good here.
Malphite looks good here. Rammus looks pretty good here.
That would mean Xin Zhao would go into a solo lane if they pick Rammus.
Or you could play Rammus top. It is possible.
We'll see what happens. I would say Malphite's pretty good. And they actually do decide to lock it in. If anyone's listening, hello.
Malphite, oh, I was so sad the other day when Rogue were hovering the Malphite, and it's like, oh my god, that's just such a 5-head draft pick, and they just locked in Gwen or something instead and lost the game. It's like
Silas getting locked in as a counter to Malphite, of course. What's better than a Malphite? A Silas with Malphite ult, so that's
a full AP Malphite. Oh no.
So Felios and Akshan and Lucian. Well, my condolences to your games. But it'll be very explosive fight, I think. Paper Squad not really having a front line. Of course, Poppy is decent. However, if that's all that there is, it's going to be pretty difficult for the Action and the Lucian to walk around in these fights while having to also look out for the Malphite, for the Orianna ult, even. While Team Cataclysm has a pretty easy comp to play, I'd say. A big team fight ult for top, a big team fight ult for bot, for mid.
Yeah, that wombo combo. If people don't remember Malphite Orianna as a wombo combo,
that's
you might
the OG.
after this game.
All we are missing is a Jarvan, which was banned last game. But, you know, there's definitely potential in Paper Squad's comp to be able to kite around these team fights and be able to play around this. But I would prefer Team Cataclysm's draft because, well, it's just so much easier to play these comps. Malphite just click on the Zar, and there you go. That's Action dead, that's Lucian dead. Not necessarily from the Malphite himself, but any follow-up that might happen, Lulu won't be able to stop it with only that.
Yeah, people forget as well, Malphite E lowers your attack speed, especially good against ADCs.
Very good indeed. Malphite will have a tougher time against an Akshan, of course, because it's just a melee versus a range matchup. However, if he does get out of lane without losing too much, or even if the jungler gets up there, since I'm pretty decent against Akshan, it'll be really difficult for Paper Squad to play the late game because it's so easy to just pick people off with this Cataclysm comp.
With no, it is Akshan top. We can confirm Akshan top, Silas mid, not the other way around. One thing I will say about Paper Squad's comp is it's incredibly short range. The longest range thing you have actually, I believe, is the Lucian ultimate, which, can be really good for poking down. And sure, the team has a lot of dashes to get forwards, but Fresh champion, extremely good at peeling. Orianna can provide a lot of peel as well, just with the speed boost and reduction that her W provides. This Aphelios should be able to free hit fairly easily in the team fights.
Yeah, they are lucky enough that Team Cataclysm also isn't that that long range. Of course, you do have to watch out for the Malphite ult and Aphelios if he has the right guns. Both these teams kind of want to be engaged on, sort of. The Aphelios is definitely a peel back champ along with Thresh. This is how can do either, but Malphite and Orianna, of course, want to go in for that wombo combo. While Paper Squad basically just wants to sit back and get engaged on as much as possible, trying to cancel any dashes, polymorphing whoever goes in first. But I do think it's going to be very, very difficult for Paper Squad to play this game. If they don't individually get immensely far ahead in their lanes, I think this is going to be incredibly difficult.
Yeah, incredibly difficult indeed. And Malphite here, you have to expect we're just gonna see armor being built.
Yeah. Yeah, the only 8p damage is Silas, and Silas doesn't go through tanks that easily.
Thresh as well can pretty much play a game of let me stack some armor. Maybe he'll pick up some MR.
So Zinzao, it's going to be... I don't know how much this game.
I'd be surprised if we didn't see what's it called? The anti-crit armor item third.
Random and Zone.
Rando Zone, that's it. I'd be surprised if we didn't see that coming out third on the Zinzao. Of course, you always go Bloodthirster Sterex because it's just, the best item combination in the game. And a lot of bruisers tend to decide on their third item based on what they do well and what defenses they need. And here into double ADC comp, both of which will probably be building crits, Rando and Zoman, incredibly strong.
The Silas himself won't really build that much damage because Silas nowadays do go Everfrost and a bit more defensive, Spellbinder, not Spell, is that even an item still? The one that gives a lot of ability haste and Zonyas and stuff like that. So he won't be a massive threat. So I don't think the Malphite, the Zinzao, like anybody really has to build any MR because Poppy does 80 damage, Lulu won't really do any damage. It's going to be very easy. I can even see maybe even the Euphelios or maybe the Oriana picking up Ninja Tabbies or whatever they're called these days, just to stop so much damage of Pips.
Yeah, I always find it funny because everyone always calls them Ninja Tabby still. When they change the name, what are they called now?
Bladed Steel
Caps, yeah, that's it. And but everyone still just calls them Ninja Tabby.
I still call Control Wards Pink Wards. I ain't changing my ways.
I think everyone does. I suppose they should be Red Wards now, but
Nah. They're pink in my eyes.
Pink. They'll always be pink.
Pink in my heart. Oh yeah. I don't expect that many shenanigans level 1 coming up this game. No team really that strong early.
Oh, Lucian Akshan level 1. I wouldn't do it into a team that has, a Thresh, but they could go for the level 1 invade here.
Or an Euphelios, who already has 2 abilities, level 1. Scary. Malphite, because, if Cataclysm expects it, if Malphite gets his E off on both the champs level 1, they won't actually be able to basic attack.
Yeah.
Because that slow feels so horrible if it gets hit on you early. When you don't have any attack speed, it's ugh.
It does. It's kind of interesting because I don't think either team should be invading here.
No.
Because both teams are quite happy if the other team invades them. Bewitching Poppy, I didn't even know that was a skin.
It's cursed. That's what it is.
It's cursed. Oh no. Into game very quickly. I actually had to wait for the timer to start. Interestingly enough.
Alright.
As we go into game 2, Cataclysm up 1 game so far, potentially going to get themselves a much needed win. Paper Squad just wanting to get themselves another draw if they can. Keep stacking some points.
Again, the top laner, Vessel, not opting for the teleport, going for the Ignite this time. Strangely enough, looking to kill the Malphite. Like I said earlier, has to get incredibly far ahead early and able to stop the team comp, as we do see Cataclysm actually trying for an invade.
Yeah, I'll say Cathas here taking Grasp is a interesting choice.
Also interesting, yes.
you really don't expect him to be able to hit it that much early. Sure, the cheese wheel gives you a really massive slow, so maybe you can run down the Akshan and get one off, but you expect it to take more damage back.
Yeah, you definitely want, especially against a champion like Akshan. Akshan won't build any defenses, so when you hit level 6, and if you had Comet, slowly poke him down with the Q, you might be able to look for lethal, even if you yourself haven't built any damage. It'll be interesting to see maybe how many grass procs he can get off, maybe 1, maybe 2 in the first 25 minutes.
Yeah,
But we'll see.
because if not, you kind of say, if you really wanted to go Resolve Tree, why not Aftershock?
Yeah.
Provide you with the extra damage on that ultimate engage. Does walk into Vessel here,
For a
and
bit of a
he is getting the
cheese.
auto attacks, but Cataclysm is going to lose that one quite badly. Mindless is there to back him up. But that is Ignite down early for the extra damage.
With this cheese though, Poppy being able to see, they saw, oh, since I was in the top, I'm just going to head straight to the enemy red buff, is looking for the invade. Again, since I was standing on his top side, maybe Paper Squad saw this last game and decided, okay, he's probably going to do it again this time. Weak side top. Let's just try and invade him.
Cataclysm taking so much damage, less than 100 health. Double shot's not quite enough to pick that up, but maybe an early TP going to be forced out from the Malphite. So we'll see.
Also, go on.
I was going to say, Kenna's been using the Caitlyn gun really effectively here to poke down Talalat, making really good use of that range difference.
But they are fairly pushed in. They probably don't have a single idea that Poppy is behind them, so maybe we can see Gek in the bot lane as again he's going up in the top lane. Although at least I'm looking for it, but it will be spotted out.
Cataclysm here actually going to try and freeze the wave, knowing that there's no teleports.
Oh, that's a lot of damage. He's gonna have to go back because Vessel decides to not actually go back, meaning, well, he might just die here.
And a fast flash out from the Malphite. There is meanwhile a fight going on mid that we missed a decent chunk of, but Shadow Green will go down and the kill will go to the Thresh. Not who you really want to pick it up, but just still happy that is a kill back, or a first blood at least, going to your team.
That was a fairly positive about a Malphite side that just tanked like 2 waves of minions. Foster gets his flash blown, but lane get up while all lane was pushed in. Flash saw an angle to just roam in, see what he could do, and actually ends up the kill on Shadow Green, who now has to expend his TP. Right, since I will now go into his bot side jungle and realize that his red buff has been taken, because he actually hasn't gone down there just yet. So while Zinzao is now in an entirely empty jungle with basically the same CS as Poppy, Poppy still has her entire jungle up, meaning that she will be able to get a lot more farm than the Zinzao.
See Ainsley using the ball and the auto attacks here to put a lot of pressure down onto Shadow Green. Has got that health advantage. Shadow Green actually going in, gets the knock up down onto Ainsley. It's not enough damage to get a kill. Both mid laners about 200. And that's Vessel putting out a lot of damage into Cataclysm. Here comes Cream Demon though. And the heroic charge will be enough damage for Vessel to pick up the kill with the Ignite.
Yeah, the easy kill, knowing that the Malphite doesn't have his flash. Just forcing him to push his lane out.
Well, meanwhile, Mindless in the mid lane, somehow being caught out by Shadow Green here. Teleport coming back in. Ainsley potentially in trouble. Heroic charge into the wall. That's a lot of damage down onto the Orianna. 200 health. Mindless trying to put some damage back as well. Shadow Green forced the flash.
Poppy all over the map right now, being able to catch both the top lane and the mid lane. Ainsley did use his TP, but Shadow already used his. He's very low HP, he has to go back, and this lane will probably be crashed into the mid turret, meaning Shadow will lose some XP. He does actually decide to go full back. So that's another 5 to 6.
Yeah.
And you can see on the minimap at least, the Cream Demon
Ooh,
has to
Vessel
flash.
fast a flash in the top lane. The damage coming out from the minions really helping the Malphite here. Malphite with the Bramble Vest especially starting to win out on these trades.
It's going to be very difficult. Akshan, of course, sitting on a lot of gold, so I assume he's going to be able to pick up some parts of his Monk River, or just entirely of it. Something to be mentioned, Poppy is running Predator, so she is looking for that heavily gank style, being able to just run some of these champions down, get them into a wall, and maybe looking for a free kill. Now it does pick up the boost, so now it will be activated. Still no real prio for the Drake, it's still up, it's an Infernal. Both teams, of course, would like that, and Infernal, a very good Drake. If it was what's it called?
Cloud?
Cloud Drake, no one would really care about it, but it's a surprise, I guess, to see him
Mind
not be
you,
taken.
ultimate, but there is an engagement top on Katsura in a lot of trouble. Using the Unstoppable Force to get out, Shadow Green will follow up with his own.
Yeah, very nicely done by Pip. He's got still punishing the flashless Malphite. He's been taken down. He's going to lose quite a big wave. Doesn't have teleport ready. Zinsao is there though to catch this up. Might be an opportunity for the Poppy to look to evade a bit, but she's on the mid wave. Really being taken away from it, but it does mean they see the jungler on top, so maybe they can go down, look for a gang bot, or even take.
Honestly, really not too bad. Their side of Cataclysm. In some ways, getting all of that minion wave onto your Xin Zhao is arguably better than the Malphite, because Malphite's always going to be able to press that R to be useful. Xin kind of needs some gold and XP to be useful in the game.
That's what some teams like look to do. It's just to froze for a second there, but to just get your top, just let your jungler farm the top side, just a bit of funneling basically. Get the top lane and just go TP ball, get a gank off while the jungler just takes the top farm, and that being a way to spread the gold more efficiently, as Babescott does actually take this trick. While we see just Xin take something back on the top side, looking for that. Rift Herald knows the top has pushed, knows mid has pushed, so we can just take them without real any real problems. Action farm one was turret. He may look to scout it out.
Oh, and there's the route into the Death Sentence Flay. Talalat in a lot of trouble here, trying to kite back, doing damage. The Cullen comes out. It's a lot of damage. Close actually forced to flash as Kenneth was not tanking that for him. Damage being forced back, and there's the ultimate. It's not quite enough to pick up the kill. Cream Demon actually taking so much damage. Kenneth turning it around will pick up one kill. Q coming out will not quite get onto Talalat. Yet the problem with the Poppy build is you are not tanky, as you saw just there.
Yeah, surprised he's taking the Ionia boost. Even though like red team.
Oh, Shadow Green actually teleported in behind. He's going on to Kenneth first. Going on to Cursed first. We'll pick that up. Kenneth's left alive, but he manages to turn it around, pick up one kill onto Talat. Now he's going after Wasteland. Wasteland sub 100 health, but Kenneth can't quite catch up. Does not have the flash to close the distance. Is trying to heal up. The use of that red gun. So much healing, but Shadow Green will pick up the kill in the end.
A nice roll from Shadow, being able to pick up some scraps from that bot fight as Malva goes in.
Force. There's the Q. A nice interrupt. I think the knock up there from the Xin Zhao actually interrupted. I'm not sure what interrupted.
If Akshan is on his spin, if he like bumps into any champion, it stops. So just a dash going over to the Akshan stops the doesn't go through. That's why he probably even didn't know that, so that's why he flashed a bit further away from the Akshan just to try and stop it. Actually managed to do it. Akshan again also losing a lot of minions here and doesn't have TP. Poppy maybe looking up there to try and get something done.
But Malphite quite a decently harsh champion to gank that will get a heroic charge into the wall. Malphite will take damage because of the Bramble Vest. Aggregate the tower and goes down in the end. Bit of an overstay. Didn't
Yes, the
flash in
Predator
time.
That's the Predator coming in. This Poppy is so incredibly fast with the Predator and the W up. But going back to her build, the Ionian boots, probably not the best, even though it does get you your Predator up a bit faster. Actually, no, it doesn't even do that? I'm not even quite sure. But it does get the flashes up and such. Not really that good of a build anymore going that. Well, we might see a dive here.
Yep.
Looking for it. The hook goes
Tower.
down.
The hook goes onto the Lulu, trying to push her out of the tower. She gets the ult onto herself, is trying to walk forwards, but will take damage. Tower shots coming back, will pick one up in return. 1-for-1, a bit of a botched dive there. You can get the ADC. Ainsley now flashing away. Cream Demon does use the heroic charge to get out of that, and one kill will go back. Talolat, meanwhile, less than 200 health as the wave gets pushed in. He's bound to die. Herald put down as well. There's the root, and Ken is tanking that for the jungler miners to pick it up.
They won't look to push it out any further. They're testing, so maybe they will. Maybe to redive this Poppy. I'm not sure if that's the smartest idea, but they probably can't really do that much against.
Tanky.
After since out goes in on her, he just gets stunned up, so I assume, and then he's just taking tower aggro. So I don't think you're going to try and do it, but very well played, managing to catch out the bot lane while mid lane was getting collapsed on. The Lucian are falling very far behind the Aphelios. We can see why it was banned. Kenna's seeming very well practiced on it.
Yeah. I mean, I am wondering about this Poppy build. Are we going to see any resistances be picked up? Because of course Poppy W does give 10% bonus armor and MR as part of it. I think it's the W. It has a passive effect that does that. So obviously building armor and MR extremely worthwhile on Poppy. At the moment, we just see damage in CDR.
Yeah, the problem is, like, he's gonna.
Oh. Ainsley could be in trouble. Bashford's agreement, they will put the CC in. There was just nothing Ainsley could do.
Well, as you're saying, he's going for Divine Sunderer on Triforce, which would be insane. But he needs to be looking at his team. He has 2 ADKs and a Cyrus. He doesn't need to do any damage. His team has enough damage. They need a front line. But he's going to be just as squishy as both of these AD carries. So I think it's a really, really bad build for the Poppy.
Found Talat trying to jump away. Meanwhile, fight going down. Kenneth has been caught by Shadowgream. He's trying to put the damage in. He's still alive though. Cullen comes out from Talat. Will pick up that kill. There's a double knockup from Katsuya. The health bars are so low, but they're just not falling to the side of Paper Squad. One is taken down eventually. Talat now going on to Katsuya, trying to kill this Malphite, but he's so incredibly tanky. Flash forwards, not quite enough. Curse will get the aftershock off, but will go down in the end. Ainsley is here now, but I don't think they want to take this 2v4.
I am reminiscent of game 1. Paper Squad losing quite lanes, but managing to pick up a very decent team fight near the second Drake.
Ainsley's been
Ainsley is trying to do something.
Being zoned off right now by the Lulu. That's so much damage. Lulu almost taken down. Auto attack's not quite enough, and now Ainsley's in a lot of trouble. All of those auto attacks coming in. The teleport in from Shadowgream as well. Katsuya will also just fall eventually to this. And a very delayed ace on the side of Paper Squad.
A very nice fight around the second dragon, knowing you can clearly see that Paper Squad does know how to catch people out, get the team fight going, as we might see collapse on the Lucian.
Talat might have overstayed here. He will be able to walk out of that one.
Yeah. But Paper Squad picking up a decent amount of gold. I'm not sure about how many shutdowns were taken, but definitely a decent win. But thankfully for Paper Squad, their only AP source, being the Sinus, is getting a good amount of gold, good amount of kills, and becoming a real threat for these players. Gonna have the Zhonya's next, and then this Malphite ult, which is stoner right now, will be massive damage. The Aphelios, who is the strongest, even with the shield bomb, might not be able to survive through all the damage that will be coming his way.
Kenna is trying to 1v1 Talat. The Cullen comes out. It's about as much damage traded back as he took. Here's the unstoppable force onto the Orianna. Nothing the little clockwork girl can do will fall.
Yeah, and that's them taking down. It's gonna take the Rift Tower, not knowing that the top lane is dead. Well, the Orianna on the top lane is dead. Malphite just pushing in mid lane, not the quickest split pusher, but we'll be able to take down this turret. As we said earlier, Divine Sunder is being picked up by Poppy. I certainly, and another long shot going in. Maybe a what you call it, Steris Gauge, but again, just build full tank. There's no reason to deal damage. You do damage enough. As we see, Cataclysm falling back. Gonna try and stop this second Herald, and Pipscott will recognize this and just back off
But
as
when it
they
comes to
manage to take the top
map,
turret.
yeah, when it comes to map plays, their overall win for Cataclysm, they get both the bot turret and the mid. And all they really lose for it is that top turret, which the Herald was used to take down as well.
Okay, but maybe a bit on special. Quick question: how do you zoom out on the map? Like zoom out further than you normally can?
Try Control Z if you've got it set up as our little tutorial in the Caster's Lounge. That will work. If not, I think it's either Control Shift Z or Control Alt Z. After you
Oh yeah, I
press it,
got
it
it.
should let you. Yeah. Oh, a nice chain across the wall onto Ainsley. Ainsley forced the flash away. That is the route. A really nice ultimate will help keep him alive. Ainsley using Cathar there to block it out. Ultimate from Poppy will eject one, but it's not enough as the shutdown goes down into the Xin Zhao. Cathar doesn't get the knock up onto Shadowgream due to a nice stopwatch. Vessel in a lot of trouble now. No way that Akshan can escape. And that's a double kill over to the Xin.
Very nice fight coming in from Cataclysm, catching out Pape Squad. Managing to take him down in the top side jungle. Now being able to just clear the camps, push in mid, push in top, get just that much more pressure on the map, being able to take down another turret in the top lane, playing in the camps, and then all over just a great play catching out Poppy and the action. Builds wise, nothing too special. Just now only of course the Poppy, which we've talked about. At ninth, not a whole lot that she can do right now with that build, being able to just get popped second. But for the rest, very standard builds.
Worth noting that stopwatch isn't that currently down on the Silas, so a little bit more susceptible right now until he's fully finished that Zonya's. Not sure how close to it he actually is. Got 800
No,
gold, so about a
no
kill's
stop,
on.
no stopwatches
Oh,
across the map.
heroic charge into the walls. Nice stopwatch from Ainsley will keep him alive for a few seconds longer. He's still alive. Unstoppable force coming out from the Malphite here. Going on to Talat. The cheese wheel and the tower shot are not enough through the heal from the Lulu.
Almost a disaster there. Pippa Squad looking to engage onto the enemies, onto the Orianna, but offensive enough with the
Oh, and there's the
thing.
unstoppable force going down onto Kenners. They're trying to kite for the Aphelios, but he's just getting CC'd. Not much he can do. He flashes out across the wall and will stay alive. But he is extremely low. Aphelios ult coming in. Cursed has to block all of this. Does manage to block enough of it to keep his ADC alive. Meanwhile, the fight's continuing. Mindless picking up one on the backside, getting knocked into the wall by their heroic charge. A lot of damage going down. They focus the Xin. They will take him out. That's a revive coming down for the Lucian. Death Sentence goes on to the Akshan. They pull him back. They do get the kill. That is the last AD carry source down. Cataclysm will win out the extended team fight.
A disaster there for the Akshan, thinking, oh, this hook will definitely hit the Poppy. The Poppy flashes away from the hook, meaning that the Akshan gets hooked in. Very surprisingly close fight there in that choke point. What we can see there is, of course, the power of the Akshan. If he can manage to, get an assist off on a person that recently killed someone, he can pull someone back. This time it wasn't that useful, as we may see a fight here.
They should know Cream Demon doesn't have Smite. They just saw him smite the blue buff. This is the best time possible to go for this. They can't really wait for the Xin. They're trying to tear it down. Shadowgream jumping onto the backside. Katsu is going on to 2. Unstoppable Force will allow him to pick up the first kill. Shadowgream jumping onto Curse. Can't quite pick up that kill. Wastelad going too far forwards will also get picked up.
And that's 4 down for Baby Squad. Really good fight for Cataclysm being able to catch out these people trying to do the Drake, but missing a lot of good ults to use. They will end up going down. And Phineas now has the best possible guns to be able to take Baron, so this will melt down real quick. There's nothing else I can do about it. Probably will be too slow to get there, and this will just be a free Drake and Baron for Cataclysm.
And that does extend the gold lead to just a little under 7,000. Most of the tower lead as well, coming out for the side of Cataclysm. Cataclysm looking strong.
Oh. Maybe this sub is all they needed, but still, that's a bit of a joke, of course. But Xin Zhao being able to do a lot of these games, being able to get a lot of ganks off, helping out the bot lane this time, get ahead, which they certainly have gotten. Yeah, it's very well to them. The Malphite soaked up a lot of pressure, died a couple times, but at the end of the day, it's still a Malphite. He's gonna ult your backline. He's gonna be annoying. He's gonna be very strong with that ultimate. Well, they just invested all their time and gone to the bot lane, and now the Aphelios is becoming way and way too strong for Baby Squad to deal with. You saw it in a Drake fight where he was just able to shield so much, heal up so much, that he's becoming very, very difficult to kill, even if he gets ulted up top.
Shield bow action. I'm going to assume the biggest reason here is he doesn't want to get bursted out by the combo of the Malphite and the Orianna. Understandable as it gives you that extra shield, but is it the right call?
I'm not, I think it might be, seeing as how Action, all Action wants to do is get his revive off in these team fights. If he can stall it out, if he can just get an assist, if he can stay alive for an assist, he can get someone back. And especially if it's the mid laner, he can TP back to the fight, maybe get some help or whatever. So he's just trying to survive as long as possible, as we see a siege on the mid lane.
And Paper Squad just electing will give up that tower. Mid lane tower's gone, we'll give up the inhib as well. Shadow
Looking for a flank. Just eyeing in, has the Malphite ult. Can do some serious damage. But Cataclysm playing it safe, playing just the way out. The only way we lose here is if we get engaged on. Play it safe, get the inhib, fall back, don't try and force a fight, and see how much you can do with this Baron. They of course have a lot stronger siege this time around with the Thresh and the Aphelios. And Malphite as well, being able to engage from range.
So watch Shadow Green, he's the one to watch here. He's got to be the one to pull the trigger if they're going to go in. He has the Malphite ult.
Also has Flash up, so... But very well done from the front lines from Cataclysm. The Thresh and the Xin Zhao, just keeping them at range. Making it so that they can't actually...
I see the backs going off.
Gap.
It's a nice thought there to try and engage just as one or two of the Baron timers time out, but not enough speed to catch up there. And it kind of says that Paper Squad want to try and scale using those extra minions, but they're so far behind at this point. Do you imagine that they're probably going to struggle to kill these super minions?
But even if that does give them a fair amount of money, they won't be able to go outside of the base, so they won't be able to test this Drake. But what's probably even more important, Cataclysm can just dive because Babe Squad.
Oh, Cavalier taking damage, knocked into the wall, is extremely tanky with all of that armor. Cream Demon taking a lot of damage. There's the Unstoppable Force coming out. They go onto the Poppy first. Shadow Green will use the Zhonya to keep himself alive a little bit longer. Flashing forwards, trying to make sure he gets the trade. Unstoppable Force back in. That is one traded Poppy being revived. Will end up making it a 4v4 in the extended fight if it happens. Cataclysm just happy to keep pushing in this top wave. They know there's two waves of supers coming in mid and bot. Cream Demon with a nice charge into the wall. Good play from Curse. Mindless taking so much damage, forced to use the ultimate to stay alive. That jumping in, but the lantern.
But that's the thing I wanted to talk about before the fight started. Malphite doesn't care about your turrets anymore. So Pipsquad can't really leave their base because they have super minions rushing in, but they can't actually defend their towers because the Cataclysm will just dive you. You can't stay under it as defense because Malphite doesn't care about your turret because he almost has 4 armor items. Bit of a pause coming in. Not sure what that is. Maybe it's Pipsquad saying we want some more gold.
Give me a sec. Just yep. Pipsquad saying
But
1 second in.
Pipsquad having a very, very rough time. This time around, they don't have the silver, they don't have the Vel'Koz. They can't clear waves. And they can't get close to the enemy who are trying to take the turret because they will just get engaged on. So very rough. They will have to find a very nice angle. I think this entire game is dependent on if Shadow Green can find an just insane Malphite engage. But with how Cataclysm have been playing, they've been playing very safe. Calm, collected, not looking for a fight they don't need to take. Just take the turrets, take the inhibitors, fall back, take the objectives, take the jungle camps, and basically just starve Pipsquad of any resource besides the minions that come into their base.
Yep.
Pipsquad can't do anything to come back unless Cataclysm fuck up. And as they've been playing, it doesn't look like they will.
Yeah, Cataclysm just needs to play it nice and slow. You can take this dragon, they can wait for the Baron, try and like take that on spawn. They don't even need to force it, they just need to start it. As soon as Pipsquad come, they back off. Those super minions coming in the bottom 2 waves. There's only 1 Nexus tower left. They will take that if they're given the chance.
Like you were saying in draft as well, Pipsquad's very short range. Can't get close to even try and farm up anywhere or.
Oh,
no, let's keep going.
Kept going there. Just a bit of a bit of a pause.
But Pipsquad gonna have to take a miracle here to enable them to tie up the series. The only thing that we can say might be a bit lucky for them is they are playing up against a Cloud Soul. Not really that many good Cloud Soul users. Malphite really need it. Of course, it would be nice if he gets his ult as quickly as possible. However, I don't think Cloud Soul will be the difference between him getting it off twice in a team fight. So it's not really that much.
Very unlikely. Oh, Vessel going in here. They thought they caught Ainsley cursed, actually. Potentially in a lot of trouble. Nice death sentence to the Baron.
Again, if anybody else has the perfect guns for this, so they can just rush it down, especially because he's so incredibly fed right now, it's just melting down.
And Pipsquad know this is going on, but they just can't really do too much. Looks like Poppy's going to try and inject the enemy jungler. Just throws out a turret. Has no flash, so no way into the pit. Shadow Green's going to try and start off the fight. He manages to get Ainsley. There's the unstoppable force onto the backline. Finds 2, but Cataclysm doesn't have the damage to finish them by himself. Aphelios is coming in now, though. That's a lot of damage coming out. Akshan and Lucian, both incredibly low, standing on top of each other, taking that unstoppable force to the face. Might have just cost them. Vessel will get the respawn down for his Lucian. That might be enough to save the game. The 2 ADCs and the Lulu left for the side of Pipsquad.
Big wave in the bot lane, have to stop that. But there we saw. Maybe a bit of a accident by Shadow Green as he didn't steal the Malphite ult, but Cataclysm still looking to end here.
Yep, just ignoring Talalat and Vessel right now. That's so much damage. Keller's just one-shots the Lucian.
Ooh, I saw that one. As we see.
And he's playing on the absolute edge here. Use of the Zhonya's. Cream Demon being taken. It's just it's a victory lap at this point from Cataclysm. They know they won the game.
This Aphelios is way too strong. And now we can see Cataclysm a fairly confident 2-0 coming back from not winning that many games and almost losing all of them and then showing this. Impressive.
Very impressive and a much needed win to show that, you know what, we can contest for a playoff spot and you should be worried going up against us.
Played very well those 2 games. Very early aggression, getting their lanes ahead, their jungler on the Xin Zhao, being able to get so much done, helping whichever win condition the enemy had, they could counter it. First game, the Darius, he's their team fighter. Focus him down with the Tom Kench this game. Counter 180 carry. Okay, we're just going to give up the Malphite. He doesn't need resources. Give it up to the bot lane, getting them ahead, and just a very clean game. Both ones.
Very clean game. There is a poll for the MVP in chat, so whoever you think the MVP should go to for that game, go and give them a vote.
These games have really been, Cataclysm picking a simple comp, not that much complexity in the champs. Just go after him, go get him. Well, they've got us looking for a bit more complicated comps, having to execute pretty well in order to get team fight wins. But yeah, very well done by Cataclysm. Was that their first win?
That is their
Second.
first actual win, but it counts as their second win because they're not going to get to play Ghost. So I just say, yeah, first actual win for them on the board. Puts them on 6 points, equal to Battle Queens, so potentially in joint 5th place if Battle Queens lose their next game, and only 2 points behind Paper Squad, who are currently in the playoff spot. So after this week's games, the worst possible place they could be is 3 points away from playoffs.
Does give Paper Squad a big deficit against teams above them, of course. Unless they are facing each other, if they are playing lower teams, this will widen the gap between the top 3 and the bottom. So not that good for them, but of course good for Team Cataclysm now being able to actually get into contention for that playoff spot, so they can duke it out with the other top 3 teams.
As indeed true. So this week we still have DTCR to play Battle Queens. That's probably going to be happening at a later date because DTR are having some roster issues. So that'll happen at a later date. Also to whoever's facing them next week, Cataclysm, facing them next week. If they don't have a roster ready yet, just give them time, I guess. They're going to try and fit in all of their games before the end. If they really can't, whatever games they can't play will end up being FFs, but we prefer teams to stay in, so if they need a couple of weeks to sort out their roster and then can just speed run all of their games, fair to them. But next week we do also have Crescent Solari against Silver Phoenix. Solari at the top of the table, Silver Phoenix sitting in a bit of an awkward spot now, really need to pick up a win. And then also we'll have Battle Queens versus Noxian Crusade. That will definitely be an interesting one to watch. Battle Queens, of course, need to start picking up some points against these top teams if they want to get into those playoff spots. And Noxian Crusade, currently one of our top teams. I think they only picked up 1 draw so far, no losses. Maybe Battle Queens can give them their first loss. Waits to be something left to be seen, and Coordination Inferno will be going up against Paper Squad next time, so important for both those teams who might end up contesting for those bottom tier playoff spots. I believe both of them are sitting. Q and Inferno, currently have a loss, so a bit
Definitely
behind
a
the top two.
decider.
Yeah, very important because that could come into play if these two teams end up on the same amount of points. If one of them owns that head-to-head, they will have they'll have the best seeding. MVP poll ended. It goes over to Kenners with that display on the Aphelios. Very well done to him.
We could definitely see why they banned him in the first game. Seems very practiced on it, knows his damages, knows his ranges, knows his guns. Well done.
I would be somewhat surprised if we saw it again.
Same for that Tom Kench, if they ever get a top sub.
Yep.
I assume the Kench will be benched.
I would assume so. Okay, let's just. All right. Do we want to get someone in for a interview? Should we see if there's anyone that wants to? If anyone wants to, come for a very quick interview. We'll just ask a couple of questions. Basically, wants to come and give their thoughts on the games because
I'll ask. I'll ask some paper squad if you guys.
Cataclysm. I'm just gonna say Cataclysm. If you want to come, someone jump into the waiting to be moved, and I'll move you in. Yeah, whoever wants to come can just jump into waiting to be moved. We'll give them a couple of minutes um, to see.
Oh. It appears that paper squad probably won't have anybody because they are going straight into a another match. Yeah, they're going into another match straight away. They're going into Prime League. The next,
Well,
they have
good
a
luck
game.
to them.
But Shadow said, all we can say was GG easy.
GG easy coming
Yeah,
out for Paper Squad there. So obviously, still in good spirits despite
yeah.
taking the loss. Doesn't look like anyone from Cataclysm's going to come and speak to us. So, I mean, just very important win for them there, getting one on the board. Much needed and some good motivation to show that the team's getting back into shape despite having the jungle swap.
Makes it a lot more exciting. A lot of teams fighting for those last spots. The top is getting a bit more further ahead from the rest, but that's the most exciting thing in these these groups, these group stages is seeing who gets into the playoffs, and then when the playoffs happens, we can see the top teams fighting each other.
Yeah, it's those bottom spots that you really love to look out for. There is another match going on right now that will get done at some point. Fuji Assassins versus League of Pugmore, another very important one. If League of Pugmore win that, almost everyone will be on the same points. Um,
That would be
in
amazing.
River, we would have 7-7-7-6-6-1-0. But the one has only played 2 games as opposed to 4 from everyone else, so could quite easily be another 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got some very close leagues, which always makes it exciting.
I'm looking forward to the 17 tiebreaker matches.
17. Oh god, we have ways to settle tiebreakers. It's fine. Can't even remember what it was. It was head-to-heads first off. Hopefully we have some head-to-heads that we can work from, and then I think we go to like ties or wins or something. But yep. Anyway, thank you everyone for coming to watch today. We'll have more games coming up very soon. Thanks for casting with me.
Yeah, no problem. It was pretty fun. I'm sure I'll do it more often.
Yes, hopefully we'll have some more games coming up very soon that you can come and join us for. Thanks to everyone, and we'll see you soon.